All right, welcome back to Data Math Concepts. So what we're looking at today, we want to look at appearance questions. We want to look at how these questions appear on CXC exams, and then some of the coolest ways that you could actually work these out. Just stay tuned, and we'll be right back. All right. Here goes the first question. So it reads, from a harbor H, the bearing of two ships Q and R are 69 and 151 degrees respectively. Q is 175 kilometers from H, while R is 242 kilometers from H. All right, so that's the diagram we're looking at. First question reads down the bottom, and it says, complete the diagram above to show the information given. So we're definitely realizing that there's some information that is not yet here, and we want to put them on, right? So we want to make note of this. 151 degrees is not there. 175 kilometers is not there. What is 151 degrees? It's the bearing of R. It's the bearing of R from H. So 151 would have been this angle all the way come to here. And that's 151 degrees, right? All of that angle there is 151. And then from Q to H is 175. So Q to H is 175 kilometers. So this distance here is 175 km. Right. All right. So those are the two things that we're missing. And then from here, you would have completed the diagram, and then we could answer some questions. So the first question says, calculate QR, the distance between the two ships. All right. So if you want to look carefully in order to find that, because we know this side here and this side here, and we have an opportunity to find this angle between the two sides. And we could easily pick up that by subtracting the two bearing that we got. So if we take this 69 from 151, okay, we're going to be left with 82 degrees. And this angle 82 is right here at angle H in the triangle. So if I now know this angle between these two sides, and then I'm being asked to find the side opposite to that angle, I could employ the cosine rule. What does the cosine rule says? Well, quickly, the cosine rule states that if I have an angle here, and if I know these two sides, I'm able to find this across from that angle. The rule says that x squared is equal to a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine of that angle between the two known sides. So then what do we have? We're talking about QR. So we could start off by saying QR square is equal to 175 square plus 242 square minus 2 times 175 times 242. And we want to multiply this by the cosine of the angle between them, and we found that to be 82 degrees. We want to make sure that the sides and the angles are good. So let us go forward with our calculation. We're going to find out 175 squared. 175 squared would give me 30,625. 242 square would have given me, or is giving me, 58,564. Then I want to put all of this on the calculator at once, from -2 all the way to the cosine of 82. So -2 times 175 times 242 times the cosine of 82 degrees, ensuring that my calculator is in degree mode, and I'm left with 11,787.96. Now let us finalize what QR square is. It's going to be the sum of 30,625 plus 58,564. And we want to take from this 11,787.96. We're left with 77,000 401.04. In order to find the length QR, I need to take the square root of both sides, right? So QR to the nearest kilometer at the end. So let's take the root of R. It's going to give me 278.2 km. But remember, we were asked to round our answer down to the nearest kilometer, which means to the nearest whole number. And this is going to be 278 kilometers. So what I normally advise people to do is to label your diagram as you go. So 278, I will place it on my diagram, right? Go forward, right? So let me put on this 278 km for this side. Now let us see what else that we need to find. Now the next question says, how far due south is the ship R of the harbor H? How far due south is ship R from the harbor H? Now, what we're looking at is let us quickly identify some things. This is the ship R, right? This is the harbor H. That's the north, right? So how far south is to, they're asking, how far do I need to travel down south so that we're completely lined up to go east to R, right? So if we're talking about south with east, we're talking about getting a right angle there, right? So let us say that we want to call this X, mark the spot. How far do I need to come to X so that I am directly west of R, or R is east of my point, right? So we're getting the 90 degrees there. And this is the hypotenuse that we're dealing with. So what we need is this angle right here to solve this problem. If I can find this angle right there, I would now have an angle in this right angle triangle, so I could employ the trig ratios to this. But north to south would have produced 180 degrees. So let's take a look at this. It's like we have north here, and this is south. Remember, though, that there was a 151 that led to here. So 151 would have led from here to here. Therefore, I could find this missing piece by saying 180 minus 151, because a straight angle does measure the angle and 180. So if I do subtract, I'm going to get 29, which means then that this angle right here that I'm intending to find is actually 29 degrees. So if I have an angle, right, and I need to find this distance, let me call it X, right? So this angle in this right angle triangle, this 29, I have the adjacent and the hypotenuse to deal with. Which one of my trig ratios actually deals with that? And remember, we could always look at, so let's go back to our trig ratios. So it's SOH CAH TOA. And then this is the one here that would have the adjacent and the hypotenuse to deal with. So it's going to be the cosine. And what does the cosine says? The cosine of an angle in the right angle triangle is equal to the adjacent side divided by the hypotenuse side. So in so doing, it's going to be the cosine of 29 degrees, which is going to equal to X, which is the distance I need to travel south, over 242 degrees, which is now my hypotenuse. Well, we're going to have 242 times the cos of 29 degrees, and this is going to equal to X over 242 times 242. As you could see here, 242 cosine of 29 is going to give me 211.7 kilometers, right? Now, so this distance X right here, right? If they didn't give any specific instruction, like in kilo or so forth, so we'd never get any specific instruction. So I'm going to leave it as 211.7 km.